Module number 8, Light and Color. In the 2nd century AD, the physician Aretaeus recommended that lethargics are due to be laid in the light and exposed to the sun's rays. Ancient Sanskrit writings describe the body as being composed of 7 energy centers called chakras. These chakras, located at the sites of the major endocrine glands and corresponding to particular states of consciousness and personality types, were responsive to or ignited by different color. Even modern medical doctors admit, we know from the days of tuberculosis that ultraviolet light has a beneficial and healing effect. Photobiology is based on the interaction between optical radiance and living organisms. Specifically, the science of photobiology involves the study of how the infrared, visible, and ultraviolet portions of the electromagnetic spectrum influence biological pressures. Naturopaths, of course, like light, natural light, although we will use other lights if indicated. Not all light is good. Although it is environmentally friendly, blue light can affect your sleep and potentially cause disease. Until the advent of artificial lighting, the sun was the major source of light, and people spent their evenings in relative darkness. Now, in much of the world, evenings are illuminated, and we take our easy access to all those lumens pretty much for granted. Light and sleep. But we may be paying a price for basking in all that light. At night, light throws the body's biological clock, the circadian rhythm, out of whack. Sleep suffers. Worse, research shows that it may contribute to the causation of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. So what is blue light? Not all colors of light have the same effect. Blue wavelengths, which are beneficial during daylight hours because they boost attention, reaction time, and mood, seem to be the most disruptive at night. And the proliferation of electronics with screens as well as energy-efficient lighting is increasing our exposure to blue wavelengths, especially after sundown. Light and sleep. Everyone has different circadian rhythms, but the average length is 24 and 1/4 hours. The circadian rhythm of people who stay up late is slightly longer, while the rhythms of early birds fall short of 24 hours. Dr. Charles Czeisler of Harvard Medical School showed in 1981 that daylight keeps a person's internal clock aligned with the environment. Blue light. Is nighttime light exposure bad? Some studies suggest a link between exposure to light at night, such as working the night shift, to some types of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. That's not proof that nighttime light exposure causes these conditions, nor is it clear why it could be bad for us. But we do know that exposure to light suppresses the secretion of melatonin, a hormone that influences circadian rhythms. And there's some experimental evidence, which is very preliminary, that lower melatonin levels may explain the association with cancer. A Harvard study shed a little bit of light on the possible connection to diabetes and possibly obesity. The researchers put 10 people on a schedule that gradually shifted the time of their circadian rhythms. Their blood sugar levels increased, throwing them into a pre-diabetic state, and levels of leptin, a hormone that leaves people feeling full after a meal, went down. Even dim light can interfere with a person's circadian rhythms and melatonin secretion. A mere 8 lux, a level of brightness exceeded by most table lamps and about twice that of a nightlight, has an effect, notes Stephen Lockley, a Harvard sleep researcher. Light at night is part of the risk, so many people don't get enough sleep, says Lockley. And researchers have linked short sleep to increased risk for depression, as well as diabetes and cardiovascular problems. While light of any kind can suppress the secretion of melatonin, blue light at night does so much more powerfully. Harvard researchers and their colleagues conducted an experiment comparing the effects of 6.5 hours of exposure to blue light to exposure to green light of comparable brightness. The blue light suppressed melatonin for about twice as long as the green light, and shifted circadian rhythms by twice as much, 3 hours versus 1.5 hours. In another study of blue light, researchers at the University of Toronto compared the melatonin levels of people exposed to bright indoor light who were wearing blue light blocking goggles to people exposed to regular dim light without wearing goggles. The fact that the levels of the hormones were about the same in the two groups strengthens the hypothesis that blue light is a potent suppressor of melatonin. It also suggests that shift workers and night owls could perhaps protect themselves if they wore eyewear that blocks blue light. Inexpensive sunglasses with orange-tinted lenses block blue light, but they also block other colors, so they're not suitable for indoors at night. Glasses that block only blue light can cost up to $80. LED blue light exposure. If blue light does have adverse health effects, then environmental concerns and the quest for energy-efficient lighting could be at odds with personal health. Those curly Q compact fluorescent bulbs and LED lights are much more energy efficient than the old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs we grew up with, but they also tend to produce more blue light. The physics of fluorescent lights can't be changed, but coatings inside the bulbs can be, so that they produce a warmer, less blue light. LED lights are more efficient than fluorescent lights, but they also produce a fair amount of light in the blue spectrum. Richard Hansler, a light researcher at John Carroll University in Cleveland, notes that ordinary incandescent lights also produce some blue light, although less than most fluorescent light bulbs. Protect yourself from blue light at night. Use dim red lights for night lights. Red light has the least power to shift circadian rhythm and suppress melatonin. Avoid looking at bright screens beginning 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you work a night shift or use a lot of electronic devices at night, consider wearing blue blocking glasses or installing an app that filters the blue-green wavelength at night. Expose yourself to lots of bright light during the day, which will boost your ability to sleep at night, as well as your mood and alertness during the day. Sunlight. The influence of sunlight on the vital processes has been recognized since the very earliest times. Greeks and Romans used sun bath or isolation frequently in the treatment of chronic illness. South Sea Island natives and other primitives still utilize light in the treatment of the sick. Mexican natives have long practiced exposure to sunlight on the sea beach, partially covered with sand as treatment for syphilis, along with infusions of leaves during exposure to the sun. Natives of Haiti do the same. Physicians use the exposure to the sun as a means of stimulating the nutritive processes of the body in many disorders. The thermal and luminous rays are directly stimulating to the cells of the tissues, causing a development and accumulations of heat, while the actinic rays act upon the nervous system. Sunbath or isolation. Sunlight is one of the most powerful of all hygienic and curative agents. As a hygienic measure, it's of incredible value in the destruction of dangerous microbes, most of which are unable to resist the action of the direct rays of the sun for more than a few minutes. The value of sunlight in the maintenance of health is well seen in the dwarfed development of plants deprived of sunlight. There's even better recovery in hospitals with the sunny side. Sunlight not only influences the skin, it passes through the skin into the body, exciting and stimulating cells and tissues. The surface circulation is accelerated intensely, free perspiration occurs, and the heart's action is increased, and the activity of all vital functions is promoted. It's true that there are some hazards to sun exposure. Too much ultraviolet rays can cause melanomas or skin cancer. The sunlight is still necessary for good health, and the effects are only enjoyed without sunscreen. The value of sunshine. Light therapy is a way to treat seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, and certain other conditions by exposure to artificial light. SAD is a type of depression that occurs at a certain time each year, usually in the fall or winter. During light therapy, you sit or work near a device called a light therapy box. The box gives off bright light that mimics natural outdoor light. Light therapy is thought to affect brain chemicals like mood and sleep, easing SAD symptoms. Using a light therapy box may also help with other types of depression, sleep disorders, and conditions. Light therapy is also known as bright light therapy or phototherapy. Why it's done. You may want to try light therapy for a number of reasons. If your doctor recommends it for seasonal affective disorder or another condition, if you want to try treatment that is safe and has few side effects, if you want to increase the effectiveness of antidepressant medication or mental health counseling and psychotherapy, if you need to avoid antidepressant medications during pregnancy or while breastfeeding, and because it may allow you to take a lower dose of antidepressant medication. The conditions light therapy is used for include SAD, types of depression that don't occur seasonally, jet lag, sleep disorders, adjusting to a nighttime schedule, and dementia. Light therapy used to treat skin conditions such as psoriasis is different from the type of light therapy used for the conditions above. Light therapy for skin disorders uses a lamp that emits ultraviolet light. This type of light should be filtered out in light therapy boxes used for SAD and other conditions because it can damage your eyes and skin. Risks of light therapy. Steve Martin said, "A day without sunshine is like, night." Light therapy is generally safe. If side effects occur, they're usually mild and short-lasting. They may include eye strain, headache, nausea, irritability or agitation, or mania, euphoria, hyperactivity, or agitation associated with bipolar disorder. When side effects do occur, they may go away on their own within a few days of starting light therapy. You also may be able to manage side effects by reducing treatment time, moving further from your light box, taking breaks during long sessions, or changing the time of day you use light therapy. Talk to your doctor for advice if side effects are a problem. It's best to be under the care of a healthcare professional while using light box therapy. It's always a good idea to talk to a doctor before starting treatment, but it's especially important if you have a condition that makes your skin especially sensitive to light, such as systemic lupus erythematosus. You take medications that increase your sensitivity to sunlight, such as certain antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, or the herbal supplement St. John's wort, or if you have an eye condition that makes your eyes vulnerable to light damage. Ultraviolet light. Light therapy boxes should be designed to filter out harmful UV light, but some may not filter it at all. UV light can cause skin and eye damage, so look for a light therapy box that emits as little UV as possible. If you have concern about light therapy in your skin, talk to your dermatologist. Some people claim that tanning beds help ease seasonal affective disorder symptoms, but this hasn't been proven to work. The UV light released by tanning beds can damage your skin and greatly increase your risk for skin cancer. Light therapy may trigger mania in some people with bipolar disorder, so get advice from your doctor before starting it. If you have any concerns about how light therapy may be affecting your mood or thoughts, seek help right away. Although you don't need a prescription to buy a light therapy box, it's best to ask your doctor or mental health provider if light therapy is a good option for you. Ask whether you need to take any special precautions. Also, discuss which types of light therapy would be best to meet your needs so you get the most benefit and minimize possible side effects. Internet retailers, drugstores, and other stores offer a variety of light therapy boxes. Familiarize yourself with the variety of features and options available to help ensure that you buy a high-quality product that's safe and effective. Health insurance companies rarely cover the cost. What you can expect. Starting light therapy. Generally, most people with seasonal affective disorder begin treatment with light therapy in the early fall, when it typically becomes cloudy in many regions of the country. Treatment usually continues until spring, when outdoor light alone is sufficient to sustain a good mood and higher levels of energy. If you typically have fall or winter depression, you may notice symptoms during prolonged periods of cloudy or rainy weather during other seasons. You and your doctor can adjust your light therapy treatment based on the timing and duration of your symptoms. If you want to try light therapy for a non-seasonal depression or another condition, talk to your doctor about how it can be most effective. During light therapy. During light therapy sessions, you sit or work near a light box. To be effective, light from the light box must enter your eyes indirectly. You can't get the same effect merely by exposing your skin to the light. While your eyes must be open, don't look directly at the box, because the bright light can damage your eyes. Be sure to follow your doctor's recommendations and the manufacturer's directions. Light therapy requires time and consistency. You can set your light box on a table or desk in your home or office. That way you can read, use a computer, write, watch TV, talk on the phone, or eat while having light therapy. Stick to your schedule and don't overdo it. 3 key elements for effectiveness. Light therapy is most effective when you have the proper combination of light intensity, duration, and timing. Intensity. The intensity for the light box is recorded in lux, which is a measure of the amount of light you receive. For seasonal affective disorder, the typical recommendation is to use a 10,000 lux light box at a distance of about 16 to 24 inches from your face. Duration. With a 10,000 lux light box, light therapy typically involves daily sessions of about 20 to 30 minutes, but a lower intensity light box, such as 2,500 lux, may require longer sessions. Check the manufacturer's guidelines and follow your doctor's instructions. He or she may suggest you start with shorter sessions and gradually increase the time. Timing. For most people, light therapy is most effective when it's done early in the morning after you first wake up. Your doctor can help you determine the light therapy schedule that works best for you. Results. Light therapy probably won't cure seasonal affective disorder, non-seasonal depression, or other conditions, but it may ease symptoms, increase your energy level, and help you feel better about yourself and life. Light therapy can start to improve symptoms within a few days. In some cases, though, it can take 2 or more weeks. Getting the most out of light therapy. Light therapy isn't effective for everyone, but you can take steps to get the most out of your light therapy and help make it a success. Get the right light box. Do some research and talk to your doctor before buying a light therapy box. That way you can be sure your box is safe, the proper brightness, the right kind of light, and that its style and features make it convenient for you to use. Be consistent. Stick to a daily routine of light therapy sessions to help ensure that you maintain improvements over time. If you simply can't do light therapy every day, take a day or 2 off, but monitor your mood and other symptoms. You may have to find a way to fit in light therapy every day. Track the timing. If you interrupt light therapy during the winter months or stop too soon in the spring while you're improving, your symptoms could return. Keep track of when you start light therapy in the fall and when you stop in the spring, so you know when to start and end your therapy the following year. And include other treatment. If your symptoms don't improve enough with light therapy, you may need additional treatment. Talk to your doctor about other treatment options, such as antidepressants or psychotherapy. Chromotherapy or color therapy. Wassily Kandinsky said, "Color is a power which directly influences the soul." Color can have a strong psychological effect. Studies show that it can even cause physical reactions in people. Extensive studies enable us to do more than just hypothesize, and enable us to put the findings to practical use. These studies include aesthetic preference, physiological, environmental colors and emotion, environmental colors and health effects, commercial studies and color reactions, and preferences in psychological testing. Warm colors are known to be comforting, while cool colors have been studied to be calming. Dark, light, and neutral colors have been found to have different meanings, as well as perception of being smaller or bigger, closer or further away. Color is important in our perception of space, form, and ambiance. Color is associated with historical periods. I personally associate avocado, goldenrod, and burnt orange with the late 70s, mauves and blues or peaches and greens with the 80s. You could take it a step further and tie color to a place in time like Victorian England, which leads you into more analysis. We use color coding in commercial buildings for wayfinding. This uses color as symbolic representation. We do this in buildings and driving with red for stop and green for go and yellow for caution. Have you ever walked into a white room and felt like the color was so antiseptic that you thought of a hospital room? Hospitals used to be white. Our perception of color can change with the colors that surround it. Weishius Wang called it simultaneous contrast, the apparent change in hue value and/or chroma that are created by adjacent colors. When a color is surrounded by another that is complementary, it strengthens in chroma. When two colors are within 90 degrees on the color wheel, the chroma can weaken. See the inset box for simultaneous contrast. The center color is actually the same in each rectangle. Cultural beliefs can make an impact of color perception as well. In Europe, a bride wears white. In China, they wear red. Mourning can be associated with black in one culture and white in another. Studies in China show a preference for hue saturation. Elegance was associated with the brightness of a hue, and a room was perceived to be more active, with fresher and lighter colors than dark colors. Our experience of color is affected by biological, physiological, psychological, and cultural factors. The way that we interpret color can add so much to our environment on many levels. The chart on this slide shows colors and how they associate with feelings. Color and health. George Starr White, MD, 1866, was one of the leading researchers in chromotherapy. His research concluded that color rays should be applied to the skin and not through clothing. He says that the colors must be pure and not intermingled. Some of his work is considered to be over the edge. We're including it here because there was empirical evidence. Red has a stimulating effect of blood and nerves. It's indicated in tuberculosis, anemia, physical exhaustion, paralysis, and all debilitating conditions. Contraindicated is inflammation, fever, or excitable conditions. Yellow and orange are nerve stimulants. They're valuable for constipation, impaired digestion, and pelvic disorders in women. Contraindicated when there is an overexcited system. Reddish orange is valuable in cancer and other malignant growths. Green is quieting and soothing upon the nerved body generally. It must be true green and no tendency towards yellow. Blue and violet support the nervous system, are astringent, lower temperatures, and are sedate. They soothe the nerve and vascular system and are good where there is inflammation or nervousness. Indicated in hemorrhage, brain spinal conditions, neuralgia, and rheumatism. John Anderson, MD, found that blinking red lights at different speeds stopped 72% of migraines within an hour. 93% of the migraines that didn't stop reported feeling better. Anderson said that some of the success was due to the ability to self-adjust the speed and brightness of the lights to a level the person found soothing. Bubblegum pink calms nerves. They use that color in prisons for a purpose. They found that there was an actual physical reduction of muscle strength within 2.7 seconds with inmates. A recent study at Texas University found that the viewing of red light increased strength 13.5%, and elicited 5.8% more electrical activity in the arm muscles of viewers. The deduction of this study was that athletic performance requiring quick bursts of energy may benefit from red light. White blue light would be beneficial for endurance. There is some assertion that there hasn't been enough thorough scientific research done on the physics of light therapy to come to the conclusions that we do. There is a definite psychological reaction to color. It's the cellular reaction that calls for more in-depth study. Color physics. The history of color medicine is one as old as the other medicine. Phototherapy or light therapy was practiced in ancient Egypt, Greece, China, and India. The Egyptians utilized sunlight as well as color for healing. Color has been investigated as medicine since 2000 BC. People of that era were certainly unaware of the scientific facts of color as medicine, but they certainly had faith in healing with colors. They used primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, for healing as they were unaware of the mixing up of two colors. The science seems to have been silent at those times. Many aspects of humankind's explorations are ignored, neglected, or discarded. Color medicine is one of these neglected items. A common feature of every remedial and curative system of treatment, whether it's Ayurveda, allopathy, acupuncture, Unani, homeopathy, biochemic, magnetotherapy, physiotherapy, radiotherapy, aromatherapy, reflexology, or chromotherapy, is to somehow apply vibrations of one kind or another in such a manner that the body can be put back on the health track. Most systems induce vibrations indirectly, but there are a few in which the vibrations are used directly upon the body, and chromotherapy is one of them. Babbitt, Gandiali, and Azimi revolutionized to the development of chromotherapy. Their ideas were carried out by other researchers. No controversies were found among the theories presented in research conducted in any area of the world. We conjecture that color is a quantum state of matter. There are other quantum states of matter such as charm, beauty, flavor, tenderness, etc. These quantum states are linked with one another via glucons and form intermediary energy fields known as quarks. Quarks, if condensed, produce bosons, a fifth state of matter. The medium used in chromotherapy has never been explored in depth, for example. Water, the main medium used in chromotherapy, has never been studied quantitatively in any of the research conducted in the context of chromotherapy. The literature exhibits a severe lack of scientific work pertaining to quantum physical states and optical mathematics. Similarly, no proofs available on the basis of scientific calculations of chromatized water. We found no study of quantum states and the electromagnetic glow around the human body. Conductivity measurements of the chromatized water used in hydrochromopathy have not been emphasized by any researcher. Mass energy-related measurements could be helpful in potentizing or chromatizing the liquid medium used for treatment. Relationships ought to be established between charged water, its energy states, and its effect on the human body. The quantum mechanical dipole moment as a result of absorption of different colors, we conjecture, produces charge quantization phenomena. Variations in influences of light during the 1950s. Studies suggested that neonatal jaundice, a potentially fatal condition found in 2/3 of premature babies, could be successfully treated with exposure to sunlight. This was confirmed in the 1960s, and white light replaced high-risk blood transfusions in the treatment of this condition. Blue light was later found to be more effective and less hazardous than full-spectrum light, the most common form of treatment for neonatal jaundice. Comparison of blue light with turquoise for treatment of neonatal jaundice was carried out by Ebbison. Bright white full-spectrum light is also now being used in the treatment of cancers, seasonal affective disorder, anorexia, bulimia, insomnia, jet lag, shift working, alcohol and drug dependency, and to reduce overall levels of medication. Schaus worked on the tranquilizing effect of colors and found that color reduces aggressive behavior and violence. The blue light, found to be successful in the treatment of neonatal jaundice, has also been shown to be effective in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, as emphasized by Pleasanton in his work. In studies by MacDonald, most of those exposed to blue light for variable periods of up to 15 minutes experienced a significant degree of pain relief. It was concluded that the pain reduction was directly related both to the blue light and the length of exposure to it. Blue light is also used in healing injured tissue and preventing scar tissue, as well as for burns and lung conditions. In 1990, scientists reported to the annual conference of the American Association for the Advancement of Science on the successful use of blue light in the treatment of a wide variety of psychological problems, including addictions, eating disorders, and depression. At the other end of the color spectrum, red light has been shown to be effective in the treatment of cancer and constipation and in healing wounds. As a result, color is becoming widely accepted as a therapeutic tool for various medical applications. A new technique that has been developed over the past 2 decades as the result of pioneering research in photodynamic therapy, or PDT. This is based on a discovery that certain intravenously injected photosensitive chemicals not only accumulate in cancer cells, but also selectively identify these cells under ultraviolet light. These photosensitive chemicals then exclusively destroy the cancer cells when activated by red light, whose longer wavelength allows it to penetrate the tissue more deeply than other colors. PDT can be used for both diagnosis and treatment. Thomas Doherty, who developed PDT, reports that in a worldwide experiment, more than 3,000 people with a wide variety of malignant tumors have been successfully treated using this technique. Chromotherapy is now used to improve the performance of athletes, whereas red light appears to help athletes who need short, quick bursts of energy. Blue light assists in performances requiring a steadier energy output. By comparison, pink light has a tranquilizing and calming effect within minutes of exposure. It suppresses hostile, aggressive, and anxious behavior. Pink holding cells are now widely used to reduce violent and aggressive behaviors among prisoners, and some sources have reported a reduction of muscle strength in inmates within 2.7 seconds. It appears that when in pink surroundings, people can never become aggressive despite their desire, because the color saps their energy. In contrast, yellow should be avoided in such contexts because it's highly stimulating. Gimbel suggested a possible relationship between violent street crime and sodium yellow streetlight. Color, brain, and the effects of light research in Russia during the 1960s showed that 1 in 6 experimental subjects could recognize color with their fingertips after only 20 to 30-minute training, and blind people developed the sensitivity even more quickly. Understanding of these effects has come about only as a result of research into the hormones melatonin and serotonin, both of which are produced in the pineal gland in the brain. Melatonin is known to be a crucial chemical pathway by which animals respond to light and synchronize their bodily function with diurnal and seasonal vibrations. Serotonin is a very important neurotransmitter in the brain, whose action has been linked with mental disturbances such as schizophrenia and hallucinogenic states. Serotonin, a stimulant, is produced during daylight, whereas the output of melatonin, which is linked with sleep, increases when it's dark and has a generally depressive effect. This is reversed when it is light, and the production of melatonin drops. Its main site of action appears to be the hypothalamus, a part of the brain involved in mediating the effects of various hormones and in regulating emotions. However, changes in the output of melatonin in response to light influence every cell of the body, notably the reproductive processes, which are sensitive to such variations. High levels of melatonin have been found in women with ovulation problems and anorexia nervosa. a characteristic feature of which is absence of periods. In men with low sperm count, and in people suffering from SAD, which usually occurs during winter. Research also confirmed that certain parts of the brain are not only light sensitive, but actually respond differently to different wavelengths. It is now believed that different wavelengths or colors of radiation interact differently with the endocrine system to stimulate or reduce hormone production. This work has given a new dimension to chromotherapy, the use of colors in psychological disorders. SAD has become a very common problem nowadays, in England in particular, where the sun does not shine for up to 1 to 2 weeks, so that no light enters into the body. As a consequence, psychological diseases manifest, mainly in the form of depressions, which, according to chromotherapy studies, are curable without any tranquilizer use. A detailed study of chromotherapy with patients exposed to sunlight through color filters was produced by Jacob. He adopted modern theories to prove the relationship between melatonin, light, and color. Takata was the first researcher to attempt to find a relationship between blood and sunlight. Jacob's work concerns hormonal changes as a result of exposure to sunlight. Of course, sunlight is a perfect blend of 7 colors. Different colors are responsible for the release of different kinds of hormones, which keeps us healthy. Jacob stated in his work that light is responsible for turning on the brain and the body. Light enters the body through the eyes and skin. When even a single photon of light enters the eye, it lights up the entire brain. This light triggers the hypothalamus, which regulates all life-sustaining bodily functions. The autonomic nervous system, endocrine system, and the pituitary, the body's master gland. The hypothalamus is also responsible for our body's biological clock. It also sends a message, by way of light, to the pineal organ, which is responsible for releasing one of our most important hormones, melatonin. The release of melatonin is directly related to light, darkness, colors, and the Earth's magnetic field. This necessary hormone affects every cell in the body. It turns on each cell's internal activities, allowing them to harmonize with each other in nature. The pineal gland is believed to be responsible for our feeling of oneness with the universe and sets the stages for the relationship between our inner being and the environment. If that relationship is harmonious, we feel healthy, happy, and a sense of well-being. An imbalance in this relationship makes itself known in the form of disorders or diseases in our physical, mental, or emotional states. So the pineal is our light meter and receives information from the heavens above to give us that sense of oneness with the universe, and from the Earth's electromagnetic field from below to keep us grounded. A perfect balance is necessary to maintain our health and to keep us in harmony with the environment. Chromotherapy as a system of treatment can benefit people because of its harmony with nature. To promote feelings, activity, or appearance, here are some things associated with different colors.